Hey YouTube, Mark Gunnison here, and this will be another cycling video. In this video, I'm going to share the reason that I think using Strava to bicycle commute is a great idea. And if you don't know what Strava is or why you'd want to use it, stay tuned. This might be for you. So the first question that many of you will have is, what is Strava? And Strava, the way it was explained to me, is it's kind of a Facebook for cyclists so that cyclists can see each other's ride. You can share things with other people. But for me, I don't really use that function of Strava. For me, what Strava does is it allows me to track my activities and view my rides. So for example, if we go into the training log here, it lists each week. And so you can see this week, it's Sunday right now, I rode to work 3 times, commuted, and the weather's kind of lousy right now. So basically, I live in Oregon. The only bicycle riding I'm doing is commuting. I'm not riding on the weekends for fun. You can see last week, commuted 3 times to work. And then you can see it was a long time that I didn't ride the bike. And of course, that's because I caught a bad cold. For 4 weeks, I had this chest cold, which just made it hard to ride. And then before that, in December, the morning temperatures were freezing or below, and so I didn't ride much. But then if we go back to November, you can see back here, you can see I was commuting quite a bit. And it's just kind of fun to track your activity. And to me, that kind of helps motivate, keeps me motivated, because for a while I was trying very hard to ride at least 50 miles per week. And I was finding that it really wasn't that hard. I had one week where I actually rode 100 miles. Here we go, 118 miles. And so for me, Strava is a motivator because I can kind of track my activity. The other thing, if we go up here, we can go the training calendar. And as you can see, I only had 1 ride in January. So far in February, 6 rides. It's right in the middle of February. So if we go back to last year, you can see I started riding the bicycle in August. I believe I started commuting in September. So I commuted quite a bit September, October, and then the second half of November is when the weather changed and kind of had to quit riding. But for me, this is a real motivator to kind of keep myself riding, being able to check my activities. And then we also have what they call the activities log. For me, this screen's not as useful. So here's a ride from last week. This is a ride to work. And you can see we can kind of track the elevation of the ride. We have my segments down here, which I'll get into a little later in the video. And then we can also go into the analysis, and I really like this. It's, for example, you can see it was 32 degrees. It shows a higher temperature at the beginning of the ride because it takes the unit a little while to cool down, but I can see my my cadence, my heart rate. It estimates how much power I'm putting out, and then my speed. And I find that I really enjoy the heart rate part of it, I think, the most. So here is a new route home, and I'm just starting to take this route. And so it's telling me that I had some of my better times as far as my segments are concerned. And so these little segments here, I had my 3rd best time. Part of that is because I've probably only ridden this route 4 or 5 times. And I really wasn't riding that fast, but especially since it was pitch dark out and raining and I couldn't see all that well. But it is kind of interesting to be able to track your times, especially in the summertime, maybe when I'm on my faster bike. It's kind of fun to see how much you're improving. But where I really like the segments is you can create your own segments. So if we go to my segments, you can star segments That's not as useful as I thought it would be because you have to pay in order to get those segments to come up on your head unit. I'm too cheap, so I don't really use that. But what is useful for me, I create my own segment. So for example, this is the big hill that I have riding home. And I've set this up as a private segment, mainly because there's already a segment that runs up this hill that runs just past where I turn off. So that segment, I can't keep track of my time because I don't complete it. And I don't want to make two segment that for everybody else wouldn't make sense because it's too short. But I find this very useful. Here it's plotted all my times. So you can see I had pretty consistent times as when I was commuting before the weather got bad. And then when I started commuting again here a couple weeks ago, my times were pretty poor, although I'm getting better. And so I really like that just as far as trying to track my own fitness. So another really cool thing is this flybys. So if we click on flybys, we can see all of the other people that used Strava when I commuted home on that day. So this is me, and this is my route, and these are all the other people. And we can view just rides. So these are just people on bicycles, or we can view everybody. So by viewing just rides, we're seeing just other cyclists. So you can see as I'm cycling home, I'm passing a few other people, and usually I don't see the other people that I pass along my route, but every once in a while I'll see somebody, and it's kind of fun to come home and check out just to see where they're cycling. And of course, you can turn this off if you don't want other people to see where you're at. So another thing you can do with Strava is you can join these challenges. And so, for example, I recently joined this commuting challenge. And so if I commute to work 4 weeks in a row, and you only have to ride 1 day per week. And so far I've completed 2 weeks. So tomorrow I'll commute, and that'll be week 3. And then assuming nothing happens, I'll commute at least once during the next week. And I'll win what I assume is just a little virtual prize. But it does motivate me to complete that challenge. And then there's another challenge that starts tomorrow, or I think it started today maybe. And I have to ride 110 kilometers in 3 weeks, which I'll easily do just through my commute. I'll get a gift card, which I probably won't use just because my guess is this is going to be more trouble to use the gift card than it's worth, but we'll see. So anyway, I am really enjoy Strava just from the fact that it tracks my activities, and it's kind of depressing to look through January and December here and see that I really wasn't riding very much, but it motivates me when I look back here in October when I was doing a pretty good job of keeping up my 50 miles a week. So that's the main reason that I like Strava. Plus it's a lot of fun when I get home from a ride to pull out my statistics and see what my average heart rate was, what my time was. It's kind of fun to see whether I beat my best time coming home sometimes or not. So anyway, it's not for everybody, but it's definitely a big motivator for me, and I enjoy it a lot. And as always, thanks for watching.